This is the frame for the food tent, and it is assembled the day before the fish fry. Bill Whitlaufer's truck backed up to the kitchen door to unload the various food requirements that he had picked up from Sam's Value Mart. Steve Cahill explaining to Ron Ferguson and Greg Pye why that one fryer is located in the wrong position. Since the fryers are now in the proper locations, Ron and Greg are busy leveling them up. Steve, still unsure whether or not the fryers are located properly, and Ron and Martin working on the cabbage cutter. Bob Rudy, setting up the two end fryers to blanch French fries, and Steve Cahill tells Greg that I don't think they are set up correctly yet. Martin Blickman and Ron Ferguson attaching the bottom cone to the cabbage cutter. Steve thoroughly washing his hands before he starts cutting up heads of cabbage for the coleslaw. Steve removing the heads of cabbage from the boxes, taking off the loose leaves, cutting them in half, and removing the core to make coleslaw. Martin taking the tote full of cut cabbage out from under the cabbage cutter. Martin making sure that the cut cabbage is properly mixed with the salad dressing. Dave Whiffen just arrived to give us a hand getting things set up for the fish fry. The fryers are filled with oil and are heating up, ready to blanch the French fries. Steve, busy mixing up all of the secret ingredients for the fish batter. Greg and Ron, blanching the raw potato wedges. The frame of the food tent is now covered with canvas and placed in position with the help of Willard Schwartzentruber, Frank Wabro, Bob Elliott, and Steve. Steve, busy screwing the Tapcon screws into the asphalt pavement to secure the tent with the help from Bob Elliott. Roger Bender, Martin Blickman, John Schultz, and Gloria Whitlaufer, covering the containers of coleslaw with saran wrap. Greg Pye and Bob Rudy, busy blanching raw potato wedges into French fries. The cover is on the food tent, and the coleslaw is made. John Innes, getting the equipment ready to cut up the whole potatoes into wedges. John Innes and Dwayne Krupp, busy cutting up the whole washed potatoes into wedges. Willard and John watching Dwayne cut up the potatoes. Willard Schwartzentruber taking his turn at cutting up the potatoes. Bob Elliott and Harold Lang discussing the problems of the world. Good. Steve just can't wait to consume some of those fresh, hot, salty fries. Steve suggesting to Gloria to try some of the fresh, hot, salty fries. Those fries sure taste good. Dwayne and Willard stacking up the 400 pounds of Lake Superior whitefish fillets. Jack Whittlaufer, busy unloading the styrofoam boxes of fresh whitefish fillets from Coddles in Kitchener. Styrofoam boxes of fresh fillets. Jack has all the containers of fish unloaded. Jack Whittlaufer taking all the excess cardboard out of the back of his truck. This is the label that is attached to every box of fresh fillets. We rent tables from the Tavistock Agricultural Society, and here members Keith Brenneman and Ron Ferguson are busy fastening the legs on the tables and placing them in position. Members Ross Shum, Dennis Rupp, and Ken Brenneman assembling and placing the tables into position. Former member Walter Deere and Martin Blickman are reminiscing about the good old days. Ken Brenneman, ready to set up the chairs that we borrow from the arena. Ron Ferguson placing the chairs along the table. Since we have started setting up tables in the Kraut House, we no longer use the main hall to entertain our guests. Steve is covering the seconds food table with plastic tablecloth. The fish fry is on, and here we have a photo of a few of the patrons enjoying the meal and fellowship, and patiently waiting is Stephanie, who is ready to serve them their ice cream sandwich for dessert. John Schultz and Diane are busy serving seconds to the patrons that want more fish and chips. This is the food line for customers that want to eat here. This is the food line for primarily customers that want to enjoy their meal at home. We see here the many patrons enjoying a fish dinner on a warm, sunny June afternoon. John Schultz waiting patiently for Greg to have some fries available for his seconds table. Jack Whittlaufer and Larry Zare busy frying fish. Mike Kaufman is busy battering the fillets, while Larry Zare is busy deep frying them. We use 4 deep fryers for fish fillets and 1 fryer for French fries, and if they can't keep up with demand, we use a pan to supplement the fryers. Bill Whittlaufer, Ross Shum, moving the fillets along the pan, while John Schultz is busy taking the freshly fried fillets back to the seconds table. Jack Whittlaufer battering the fillets, while Dennis Rupp is deep frying the fillets. Dave Whiffen battering fillets, and Ken Krupp in the background. Everybody is busy, and John finally got his fillets. Bill Gladdy, busy selling 50-50 tickets. Our many satisfied dining guests that were enjoying the friendly atmosphere. Gloria Whitlaufer, busy in the kitchen. Donna Brenneman, explaining how things were going, and Bob Elliott was in the background. This is the mess we awoke to the following morning after a successful fish fry. Cleaning up the fryers after a busy previous evening. The pickup truck sitting there waiting to be loaded with recyclable material. A few of the 12 containers of used vegetable oil waiting to go to Quayle's restaurant to be recycled. Empty styrofoam fish containers, also ready for the garbage. Steve, busy drying the hotel pans that were used to keep the fish and the fries hot. Martin, in his favorite uniform and getting ready to pressure wash the totes and the cabbage cutter. Bill Whitlaufer, busy scrubbing the stainless steel pans and frames. Some of the equipment already washed up. Steve dumping all the water out of the bags that held the fish fillets. The main kitchen looks pretty deserted compared to the day before. Marlene Whiffen, cleaning up and organizing the leftovers from the day previous. Roger Bender and Keith Whiffen are busy washing and drying the greasy totes that we had stored French fries in the previous day. Steve Cahill and Bob Lehman assembling the basic structure of the tent we set up for the 2 food lines. Steve and Bob busy putting the adjustable links between the main steel girders. Roger asking Steve, "Are these connecting cables tight enough?" Steve checking the adjustable linkage between the girders. Bob Lehman checking the tension on the cable. Roger and Steve about to open the tote with all the miscellaneous parts in it. Bob Lehman watching to see what the next move in the program is going to be. Steve discussing with Roger that the uprights have to be erected next. Steve stretching to install the pin in the hole in the frame. Bob having trouble making the pieces fit. Roger's telling Bob the holes have to line up before the pin will go in. Roger and Bob securing the outside corner bracket with a pin. Steve telling Bob the pin has to go through the leg. Roger has other more important things on his mind. Steve looking for a hammer drill and screws to secure the tent to the pavement. Three amigos getting ready to secure the tent's feet down to the pavement. Roger, the lucky guy, while Steve observes the operation. Roger putting in the screws while Steve suggests everybody needs a boss. Steve Cahill giving his approval to Roger's mounting of the screws. Bob Lehman going for a ride on the scooter. Ron, Roger, and Steve deciding the best location for the tables in order to make the coleslaw process most convenient for everyone. Marlene Whiffen busy in the kitchen getting all the serving utensils ready for the fish fry. Bill Whittlaufer and Martin moving the rack of deep fryers outside. Martin Blickman moving the deep fryers into position under the lean-to. Ron Ferguson leveling up the fryers while Martin Blickman looks on. Martin, John, Roger, and Ron are having a discussion on the benefits of the new deep fryer stand while Steve works on the cabbage heads. John and Roger still discussing the fryers while Steve works on the cabbage. Ron Ferguson busy putting the serving pans between the fryers while Bill Whittlaufer looks on. Members are laying out the canvas cover for the food tent while Bill and Ron are giving the deep fryers a final once-over. John Service is checking out the roof and sides of the food tent canvas cover. Martin Blickman, supervising and making sure everything is under control and it looks proper. Steve is busy trying to push the canvas cover over the top of the pipe frame. Ron, Roger, and Bob trying to make the canvas cover fit properly over the metal frame.